Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
I'm
welcome.
Mari-Lyn.
And I'm Pam. And we are TCS Everyday Psychics.
Yes, we
And
are.
TCS stands for the Conscious Spirit.
Hmm.
So we haven't really introduced ourselves for a while. We realized that we have gotten so many more subscribers, and we kind of stopped introducing ourselves and talking about the paranormal. We didn't stop talking about the paranormal. But there are questions that we have answered so many times over the span of having, a YouTube channel and a podcast,
Hmm.
that we kind of got to the point where we just sort of felt like, well, everyone knows these because we've answered these questions. That's not fair to anyone new coming on. And even ones that have been there,
Right.
it's okay to hear the same answers over again.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And with that,
yeah.
you hear the answer to a question a number of times. You hear it differently every time. You hear
Mm.
something additional. You
Yes.
see it in a different perspective. Uh, every
Or
time, especially
we
for those
answer
people
it
that
in
need
a
it.
yes,
And we might answer it in a different way.
yes, depending
Absolutely.
on the reason we're answering it. There
Yeah.
usually isn't a there are a few questions that are one size fits all, but very often we'll answer a question and it's specific to what we're watching or what we're doing at the moment. And
Right.
so sometimes that answer really can change. It's appropriate for that moment, but not
Hmm.
generally. I hope that made sense to all of you.
Made sense to me. Yeah.
That's all that matters for me. So we wanted to and I forgotten her name. We had a subscriber ask a really great
Hmm.
questions plural, and we decided that sometimes we just can't answer them in the comments. You all know that. We will say, I'm sorry, that is just too big of a question.
And this was a comment to one of our paranormal clearings, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm going to see if I can find that because I would like to give her a shout out. All of her questions, but one, because one was specific to the video we were
Hmm.
watching. The other questions were really ones that we get asked a lot. So, um, Amanda Jean, Amanda Jean, beautiful questions. Thank you. And we told you we would answer them in a video, and here we are.
Now we are.
So, again, many of the questions are pretty, we get asked a lot.
Hmm.
And one actually specific to that video. So anyway, we are going to answer them. And there are a couple other ones that we added to this because we get asked a lot. So we're going to start with, what is a ghost? What
What
is
is
a
a
ghost
ghost?
anyway?
What is a ghost?
Ghost,
It,
earthy, unhealed spirit. We have many names
we do.
for them.
We
So
do. And they do not look like Casper the ghost.
and they're not all demons. Hello.
They're not all
Yes. No.
very, very, very rarely
Yeah.
is there a demon, although
Uh-huh.
there are a number of them, and even some that aren't actually ghosts that will give off that impression that it's a demon or
Absolutely.
that they're demonic. And that's their whole goal, right? Is to scare and
Yeah.
to bring your vibration down.
That's how they live. That's food
They can
for them.
feed
That's
on
how
you.
they gain energy to stay where they are, to
Yeah.
stay. Yes.
Yeah. But a real demon, ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
nah,
Nah. Nah, nah.
hard pressed to find one.
Yes, we've certainly
Right,
come across
team.
them. We've come across all kinds of things. And there's another thing. People will often ask questions. Have you come across this, and they're really specific in their verbiage.
Right.
Spirit doesn't bring us
Titles.
the titles. Thank you. Really doesn't. We see everything in the vibration. Very low vibration to a very high vibration. A very high vibration would be, healed spirit. And what I mean by that, I guess we can go there too.
And well, we probably should.
Probably should. So
right?
let's get back to what is a ghost. All right, here. Well, the original question. I'm gonna let you take it away.
So, getting back to that original question of what is a ghost, the best place to start would be maybe what isn't a ghost?
Oh,
what happens when we die?
Yes.
And most of us, when we die, our spirit, our energetic body,
Our soul, whatever you want to.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different names for that too, right?
Yes.
Of course, it's going to hang around this dimension for a while, but it crosses over
A
into
week
the higher
to
realms.
10 days.
Into the higher realms where it is kind of, I'm going to say, integrated back into that high vibration of pure love, and
through healing, goes through a lot of healing, through life review, like that gets into a big thing, but that's what we call a healed spirit, right? And most of us do that. Being a ghost is very rare. It really is. If you consider how many beings are on this planet and how many ghosts there are, it's a big difference.
Although it seems as though there are a lot of ghosts.
Yes.
And there are, because you have to consider the amount of life that has been lived and those that have died over the course of, however long there's been people.
Yes, thousands of years.
I mean, ghosts,
or even millions, depends on who what you subscribe to.
True. Very true. Now, do ghosts from thousands of years ago still roam the earth?
No.
Maybe one or two. I mean, I suppose there could be that
I would say, though, there are very, very low vibrational beings that have been around forever. Those ones rarely come into our realm, though. They send others to do that work. They don't come up. To them, this is a pretty high vibration.
Right.
But it isn't. 3D is not a high vibration. 3D is not a 4D, 5D. They say some people say our planet is rising to that 5D. Right. And that is a higher vibration. But so a ghost is when we have our physical body, our deva, and we have our soul, and because our deva dies. That's the only thing that dies is our deva. And then our spirit, soul, whatever, crosses over to those higher realms and becomes a healed spirit. And then when we don't, we are unhealed in that realm of fear, sheer fear. And we are stuck. We don't have our conscious brain. We don't have our ego. We get, it's so sad. You get stuck without full range of emotions. You can't feel love, kindness, compassion, any of that. Here's one, because we've had this recently. We cleared a home where the homeowner and the spirit had what we call an attachment. That's when there's an emotional attachment. They were both so codependent. The homeowner really thought the ghost was being very compassionate and helping her. And no, that's not real compassion. That's not real. That ghost, that unhealed spirit, that earthbound spirit or earthy, see, more names, was trying to gain energy and keep their energy going. And so something may look like, oh, they're really doing something great. They're really compassionate. And you can't feel compassion in that realm. Yeah. So did I even answer that? I don't did. What is a ghost? Yes.
So yeah, the ghost is the soul that doesn't cross over to the higher realms, that it stays in that dimension between the higher realms and the dimension that we live in.
Yes. And actually I don't know exactly where the realm is, but it's you know, I can't, people ask, well, where is it? Well,
right.
As much as I can say is it's quite close to us. That's why we can often see them so easily, why they can move things that have, so it's very close to us. It's actually a bit of a lower vibration, or the vibration is a little different, a little heavier. So yeah, that's where it is. And that's why they get stuck. And that's why they very often need us so much, because we're really close to them. And they still like to think of themselves as in a body. They look like whatever they were here in their body data. They often look like that in the realm too. So they keep that sort of look.
And there's so many different reasons why that happens.
Yes. That was my next question.
Yeah.
How does one become a ghost?
Yeah. Well, let me count the ways. And the reasons that we give are not absolute. Correct. So I was about to say sudden unexpected death. With that said, not everyone that has a sudden unexpected death becomes a ghost.
Very few of them
become earthbound. However, that is one reason why someone, and there's, it's like a, is there even like one definitive reason why somebody becomes earthbound?
No.
It's like a compound effect.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It could be someone is so I'm going to say attached, but this is a different way of being attached, but attached to their home. Like we see this all the time, like an old man. I don't know why it happens more with men than women, but it does. They become very attached to their home and they don't want to leave it. And they are going to stay in that home. And that keeps them there. And so they'll bounce around in their home and they're still in their home, and they get pissed off that someone new comes in. That's typically where you'll kind of find that angry dude that kind of gets mad, that will slam the door or slam a cabinet or whatever, because he's pissed that you're moving shit around in his house.
You're in his house, right?
Yes. So that'll happen. Being really attached to anything in the 3D to the point where, I mean, it's really kind of a codependent attachment. And you just can't even fathom being without it. Yeah, fear's another one.
Fear, having unfinished business, not just unfinished business, but that deep fear, worry, about something that hasn't been finished, that you're like tethered to.
Yes, tethered. Great word, better than attachment. Tethered to.
Tethered. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, and that unfinished business could be with property, it could be with banking, it could be with people, it could be with businesses. I mean,
it's think of it, anything you can think of right now, you can be tethered to.
Right. It's endless.
Yes.
Mental illness could be
a
reason.
Yep.
not
along with heavy
reason.
drug use,
Heavy drug use, sure,
which
could be a reason.
can lead to that mental illness too, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's all part of the spiritual journey as well.
I want to say spiritual beliefs also.
Yes, fear of going to hell is a big, like they've done something in their life. Sometimes they haven't even done it. They just don't, for whatever reason, they absolutely, there's a heaven and there's a hell, and I have not done enough to go to heaven, and I am scared to death.
Yeah.
Scared. We do get, now that's more female, I think. Not, I mean, we certainly come across men like that, but that for whatever reason, we come across more older women that have that sort of do that, I think. But it's all part of our journey. It's all part of it. That's part of our free will. We get to choose what we do, and it is part of our journey. Being an earthbound spirit is still part of our journey.
Mm-hmm. What's
also part of our journey is mediums coming in and helping cross them over. That's part of our journey, to help those who really cannot help themselves at the moment. You don't have the mental capacity, all those faculties together, either as a human or as a healed spirit, to think it through and to understand what's really going on. Another reason why we're here to help them.
That communication piece between the lower and the higher vibration.
Yes. So why is it, Mari-Lyn?
Yes.
Why can't they just cross over at any time? Why do they stay a ghost?
Well, again, there is no one size fits all.
Nope.
Some of them just don't know. They just don't know that it's possible.
Yes.
And they don't have the capacity to realize that there is guidance for them.
Yes.
To help them.
There's always guidance. Your guide stay with you until you return home. Yes.
But they're so low vibrational, and they're so in that realm of fear.
Yes.
They can't recognize it at all. And that's the beautiful part of being a medium, right? Is when you go in, there are times where our vibration is just enough for them to go, what?
We don't have to, sometimes we do, but very often we don't have to tell them anything.
No.
Our vibration tells them everything they need to know, and they just can't wait for us to help them cross over.
Yeah. And the very first sign of the ability to move, the light coming in and gone there.
And they are so attached. They are so, what they remember, they don't remember, none of us remember being on the other side, right? We all remember being human. This is the life that we're living. I know this. And so when they stay as a ghost, they relate to the human form way more than anything else. So they really look for, even in a lot of those, when we used to do the reaction videos, how many spirits were saying, help me, help me, help me, please. They wanted something. They knew they were just miserable. And here's this human, help me, help me, help me. So there's a lot of them that want help. They just don't know what to do. They just have no idea.
And even when they're asking for help, a lot of times they don't know what they're asking for.
No, they have no idea.
They don't know that they're saying,
good point.
Help me cross over to the higher realms. Yeah. They just know that they are, okay, this isn't a conscious knowing, but they know they're stuck. They know something's not right.
They want to feel better. They want to be better. Being stuck in that is miserable. Remember, there's no love in that realm. And that includes all compassion, kindness, happiness, joy. All of that is in the realm of love, which they are not in.
Not in. But they can recognize it.
Mhm.
And some of them know on some level that they're not receiving it and that they should, right?
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
and it's hard because it's so different than the way we experience
Yes,
emotions, right? Because
yes.
we have our full gamut and they don't.
Right.
So it can be a hard thing to like try to translate.
Yes. And there are ghosts, earthies, whatever you want to call them, unhealed, who are in life were really ugly people. I mean, I'm talking inside, like they were rapists, pedophiles, murderers. I mean, the dregs, Gregs, whatever of life, those that and for whatever the reason, there are many reasons that people do that, that enjoy that in lifetime. And I'm going to say enjoy. There are people that things happen and that's different. These are the people that enjoy it and they become a ghost and it's like new life for them. Like, woohoo, I get to keep doing this. And they don't want us, they don't want to be crossed over. They don't want anything, they don't really understand the crossed over, but they want to keep doing what they're doing. They're still hurting people. They're still getting, they're still able to control people and get those sexual urges taken care of in that realm. And they do it kind of without impunity, right? I mean, like until we come along, they can just keep on going and doing horrible things to people. So those ones actually like being there. And we have to, you know, we do things a little differently with those ones.
We have to change their minds.
Yes, yes. And there's another thing, because we've had this question too. Well, don't they have free will? And how can we come in and cross their free will? Well, the person, the homeowner, the business owner, whoever it is that called us in, they get top priority. And if you are some nasty spirit in their home, you don't have a choice but to go. If you were out on the street somewhere, if you were in a place, let's say in a home, and the homeowner did not want that person to go and that spirit didn't want to go, there's nothing we can do. That would be crossing free will. When the homeowner wants you gone, you're gone. That's what we come in to do. And we have the right to overstep your personal free will because the free will of the human takes precedence.
Yes.
Did that make sense?
Well, it did. However, I have never crossed the free will of a spirit where I have forced them to cross over if they didn't want to.
Okay.
I've removed them from the home.
Okay.
But how often does it happen where we force somebody to cross over? I mean, it takes
you're saying no, I've never forced them. However, we give them that option. And there are times though when either my guardians, Fred, or someone on occasion, well, the guardians take them away to wherever they take them. But we never just say, okay, go out the door and go. We never just let them leave free will, sort of wherever they want to go. We don't do that. What happens is that when that happens, because we have had people say to us, we do exactly what you do. We go in and we get rid of all the ghosts and everything. It's like, where did they go? They're like, I don't know, but they left the house. It's like, you time out. You just sent them out of that house to someone else's house.
Someone else's house, right?
To torture someone else. That's not what we do. They are always taken care of in some way to not hurt other people. We never just send them away. That's no. They have to be taken away by a higher being So if they don't want to cross over, which happens, so that's what you're talking about, right?
That's
So
what I'm talking about.
meditation,
We don't cross their free will of
okay, I'm
crossing
forcing you
them,
to go.
forcing
You
them
really
to the
can't.
higher realms.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah.
The majority of the time, though, we have some pretty good convincing skills.
Yes, we do.
Or, I don't know how else to say it, but
Yes.
you know,
Yes. Yes.
sometimes just listening to them.
Yeah.
And
not always. We've had some talkers, boy, they'll just talk forever, and that they have no intention of going anywhere. They're
Nope.
just talking.
Nope. And so, you know, you just have to call in, the right higher beings to,
Yes.
they remove them.
Yes.
And what they do from there is, you know, really none of our business. So,
Nope. But we do, our job is to make sure that no humans, one of our jobs, there's several, but to make sure no human is tortured by that being ever again.
Right.
Yes. Now, here's something, unless you want something else on that. I have something else to say. I would be one of those chatty ghosts that wouldn't go, oh, I have an audience. I'm just going to sit here and just chat away and talk to you. Here's another thing. So we have been, as you go along so for those of you who are psychic, who maybe are mediums, now a medium, just because you can see a ghost or experience them does not make you a medium. There's a lot more involved in that anyway. Mm-hmm. However, for those of you who are out, you're clearing places, you're doing whatever, you are at a particular, we're all at a particular level. So someone coming in, say like some of my students, they've been doing this, you know, some of them, you know, a year, some of them many more years than that, whatever it is. You gain more access, more abilities, and higher beings to help you as you go along. You don't day one go in and have the same guidance that Mari-Lyn and I have. Sure. We are very honored to have the guidance that we have, and we've worked very hard to receive that. Some people think, oh, well, I have guardians too, or I have these higher beings, and you do. It's a different level though. So I'm hoping this helps some of you. As you go along, as you work with teachers, you get more attunements, you heal your shit. Healing is absolutely paramount. Thank you. You will not reach a particular level with this unless you're healed. I guarantee you it doesn't happen. But as you go, so be patient. For those of you who are really you know, this is what you want to do when you're out there doing stuff. Be patient, heal, find a good teacher to help you, get those attunements. We have hundreds of attunements.
You have a thought, there's an attunement for that.
Yeah, I know. And as you grow, as you go along, you will receive more. And you just you rise up and rise up and rise up. So those of you, we have had these emails too of people saying, you know, I tried to do what you did and I just can't. The thing came back, or the person's still having activity in their home, or this is happening, or just a plethora of things. And they feel bad, like they feel inadequate or whatever. It's easy to say don't feel that way, but we can do what we do because we have spent 20 years doing this. We have spent time healing. We have spent time, you know, with teachers and attunements, and there's just more involved. So as you go, be open to learning, expanding yourself, and realize you can't. I think this is, and I remember being this way too when I first sort of started, when you think you know everything and you think you're tough enough for everything, you think you have all the answers, and you go with your ego expanded and blasting away, and you think you can help everyone. And it really takes a lot of years for that. Mari-Lyn and I are still learning all the time.
All the time.
All the time. We still get new things all the time. We come across new beings and new situations that we usually get help right on the spot now. It used to not be that way. We'd have to leave and kind of go to our sort of energetic classroom, the two of us, and we'd discuss it, and then we'd go back and fix it. And I'm sure there's going to be a time when that happens again. I don't know, but most of the time now we can do it right on the spot. But that's because we have gotten to the level that we're at. So if you continue to work, you heal, get a future, you can get yourself there. And we are honored every time we get an email from sort of I call them a newbie or someone starting out or whatever, and we can help them. That's always great. All right, I'm off my soapbox now. Someone needed to hear that though, because that was a direct, I was channeling that information. So someone really needed to hear that. Okay. So Mari-Lyn, would you like to talk about, I guess we've talked about most of the things we wanted to. I got one for you, since I've been talking most of the time. Can an earthy cross over without help from a medium?
Yes. And we did touch on this a little bit.
I thought we did a little bit, but maybe expand more on that, because people want to know.
Their guidance is always there, trying to entice them, convince them, reach them. It's not even about like convincing, they're trying to reach them, but the vibration is so low, and they're such in that that vibration of fear, like we had talked about before. They can't recognize it. They just can't see it. Now, does that mean never? No.
Nothing is 100%.
There are times where they will even, and all it takes is a millisecond. It just takes long enough for that connection to be made, and they will cross over. But that doesn't happen all that
no,
all that often. The job of a medium is to be that medium in between.
Yep, that's what a medium is.
We can reach the higher and we can reach the lower, and we are that bridge in between.
Yes.
There is also an absorption that can happen.
Yes.
Where an earthbound, eventually they absorb into the higher vibration.
I want to talk about that just for a quick when one of the reasons they like to attach to a human, get that emotional attachment, is because that feeds them, right? We talked about that earlier. They're fed, they scare you, they hurt you, whatever it is, that's food for them. When they've lost their, what I call light source, with their food source, they've lost their food source, they begin to diminish and diminish and diminish. They can't keep it up. They diminish to the point where they just absorb. Their guides are finally able to just sort of put that light around them, and they just absorb into the light and they go. So that's why we rarely see anything that is super old. The only time really is if they're of a pretty low vibration. They last a lot long. There's a lot more food down there. A lot more food. You don't need it. You don't need the light, right? But
yeah.
So
to answer that question, can they? Yes. Do they? Not very often. Right. But that's why there are those of us that are mediums.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a definite job.
There is people ask about the people that, so this is another, how trauma, wounding plays a role in, actually, we talked about that in becoming a ghost.
Mhm.
And then even as the ghost moving on, the more trauma there is, the less you're able to realize that there's a way out, because you are stuck. A ghost is stuck in their trauma. If you think about how you are as a human being, if you have, we've talked about codependence a lot, anger, depression,
Addiction.
addiction, any of that, and you become an unhealed spirit, earthy, a ghost, you are stuck in that. That's where you're stuck. You're stuck in your own shit. You're
You're
stuck in
stuck
your own
in that vibration, right?
Yes. Every ghost is stuck in really the worst part of them, the most unhealed part of them. The rest of it goes away. So as a ghost, you are stuck in that lowest vibration, in the worst part of you, that part that you don't want to be. The part that you don't want to be the most, that's where you're stuck. Yes.
And that also can include being a victim.
Oh, that's a huge one.
That's a huge one. Being stuck in victimhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as humans, everyone listening knows what that's like, to be stuck in victimhood. And it doesn't mean
whether
like
you want to admit it or not.
Yes, yes, yes. And it doesn't mean you're 24/7 in victimhood. Some people are. Some people are.
Well, if you're a ghost, you are.
But when you're a ghost, you are.
You are.
It is miserable being a ghost. That's what. So, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going off onto another thing. So
Okay,
you had
go
more
ahead.
to say about the victimhood.
Nope. Please.
Being stuck in your death state.
Yep.
That would be that sudden, unexpected death. That just like shatters you, yeah, it shatters you.
Yeah.
And you're stuck in that state of death, not even realizing that you're dead.
Yes.
And just you're in that state. And that's just
horrible,
horrifying
what
to think about.
What brought up too, because we've come across many moms who are just searching for their kids, and typically that mom is just a shattered piece. So in life, something happened where she lost her kids, she couldn't find them, and then death happened, and she's continuing to look for them. And it's really just a piece of her. It's that shattered piece, that shattered, and it's just, so the rest of her has gone up, has healed, has gone through everything, is back with her higher self, everything's, but that shattered piece, and we don't always gain back all of those pieces when we cross over and we get healed. I really cannot tell you the why, like where that line is, because yes, sometimes we do get our pieces back. Yet we have come across shattered pieces where we go to move them over, and the person they belong to will come down in the light and they get reunited. And I really, that's like above my pay grade in the whys, and being able to say the why, but I do know what happened.
What's coming, one reason is there's a contract around lessons.
That lands.
There's a contract for lessons. Sometimes it's a lesson for the medium.
Absolutely.
And there's just, there's so many different people that could need lessons from that scenario, right? Whether it's the homeowner that's experiencing it, or there's just too many to name. But
Yeah.
that is one reason. Contracts around lessons.
Mhm. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of that, a
Mhm.
lot of lessons. Even being a ghost is a lesson. That's part of your journey, as we talked about earlier. And part of it is because you're not done learning. You may
Mhm.
not be conscious of that, but you're not done learning. And so, okay. So the part of you, say, especially in that part, in the shattered piece, you're right, Mari-Lyn, absolutely. You are still wanting that shattered piece. You're still wanting to learn that lesson.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Free will has decided I'm crossing over.
yeah.
I'm willing. Yes, that piece can stay because I want to learn it, but I'm
Yes.
going.
Yes.
I'm
And when
going
they're
home.
and usually by the time we come along, they're ready to go. They've learned it. They just need that extra help from this side to sort of push up.
Mhm.
And yeah.
And that is, I tell you, that is a beautiful reunion.
Oh, so beautiful.
Oh man.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are soul pieces. Typically, a soul piece will be with someone that's still living. You know, we get asked those questions all the time. So a shattered piece tends to be, not always, it's not 100%, but they'll already crossed over and the shattered piece is there. Not always the case, but
Nothing
more
is
often than not,
nothing is ever always
nothing. No.
100%.
But then we have
Never say never.
never. A soul piece. That happens. All of us have soul pieces. They're out somewhere roaming around or sitting down or whatever it is in that space. And that is when we go through trauma. We unconsciously take, and sometimes it's not completely unconscious, but we take a piece of ourself, a piece of our soul, and put it away for safekeeping because we don't want to be hurt again. And that actually makes everything worse, but we don't think so at the time. We're
We
in
don't think
that,
about that, right?
yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who have heard me say this before, I have a friend who is a shaman, and she says our soul looks like a piece of Swiss cheese. And that's from those soul pieces, us putting those away from trauma.
Mhm.
And those are usually attached to, or those usually belong to someone who is in life still.
Right.
When we come across those.
At the trauma, it's important to say that trauma is traumatic to that person in that moment. And that
Yes.
doesn't mean that it is something heinous.
Nope. No.
Doesn't mean that it has to be what the world deems as traumatic.
Correct.
Um,
Very good point.
yeah.
It
And
can be something as, like my shaman friend says, let's say you're daydreaming and there's the phone rings or something, and it's that big, like, whoo, oh my God. And it, you know how it shakes. We've all had that happen. You can lose a soul piece at that moment. It's that fast. But that's trauma to your body. That's trauma. So
right.
we're not just talking about, as when anyone says trauma, we usually go to that really heinous stuff.
That really bad stuff.
Yes. And that certainly happens. That's
Absolutely, that's trauma.
Yeah.
But the trauma that we talk about is that and so much more.
Yes.
It can be as simple as, well, you haven't been practicing enough.
Right. And I get hurt by that.
And I go in my brain, oh my God, I was just told I'm too stupid to do this.
Yes. And the shame and the whatever. Yeah.
You leave a soul piece
Yeah.
on the putting green at the golf course.
Yes, you did.
I did.
And
Yes,
that's
I
another
did.
thing, a beautiful thing about energy healing is we bring back a lot of soul pieces.
A lot of soul
And
pieces.
talk therapy can do the same thing. It's just a little different. I think energy healing, though, that's where because we work in conjunction with people who have therapists as well. So it's kind of this.
Oh, that's like the best scenario.
Oh, it is. The healing goes so fast and it's beautiful. Yeah. So how about I would like to now, so I don't forget,
Yes.
the one question that it was Amanda Jean, right? I think. I hope that's right.
I believe so.
She had asked specifically, we had did the clearing. It was the restaurant in Reno.
Okay.
And she had a question, and this is kind of paraphrasing, how there was a I don't even know if it was a full, I think it could have been a shattered piece.
I think
Don't
it was
remember.
I think it was a shattered piece.
Yes.
I do believe it was a shattered piece.
And
Because I was expecting, I'll be honest, I was expecting to fully find a conscious
me
spirit
too.
of this woman, because I had been
Yes.
visited by her,
Yes.
and I didn't realize during that visit, and it was a quick one,
Mhm.
and I sent her back to the restaurant. I did not realize that it was just a part of her.
Yes.
And I'm looking throughout this restaurant and I can't find her and I can't find her. And then I finally get this sense of her
Yes.
under the staircase.
Yes.
But it wasn't what I was expecting at all. It was so minimal.
So what's really coming now, and this happens a lot, we'll do a clearing and everything, and then later there's more information, especially when we start talking about it. Her full self, her healed self, was ready for that to be done and was calling her home. And so she was looking for someone to help her. That shattered piece, looking for someone to help, because that, again, there's not always that connection there. So the question from Amanda was something, again, I'm paraphrasing, how wasn't that woman able to find the light before us? So the answer is there wasn't a light before us. We brought in the light. I actually think it was me that did it.
It was.
I brought in the light. She saw it and she was like, "Oh, that's my ticket." Gone. So that's the why. It was not there before. It's not going to be there before we get there. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes, God, if you're ready, it's between you and your, again, this is a spiritual journey, right? All of it is a spiritual journey. So if your guides are able to connect with you and you're able to hear that, they can bring it in and you can go that way. But in most of the time,
do the guides really need to bring in the light? I mean, it's brought in different than the way you
it's brought, yes, it's brought in different.
It's different.
It's their light.
It's
their light, but still that high vibration, that loving light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And for some reason I need to say this because someone is I think someone is wondering, no, not everyone can bring in the light. I'm hearing, well, can I bring in the light? Can I just bring in the light? When I go, you can bring in a certain amount of light. Now, this goes back to what we talked about before about how you graduate and how you grow and how much more powerful you become. The longer you do this, the more you heal, the more attunement, the higher beings that you get to work with and all of that. So when Mari-Lyn or myself brings in the light, it's a much different light than you as a homeowner or someone that's been doing this for a year or two or whatever, is a different light. You can always still try. There's no reason why you can't try to do that. And if it works, that's wonderful. I don't expect it to.
I don't think exuding or bringing in, requesting or calling on a high vibration has ever done harm.
No, never. Not even close. No, it never does harm.
If the intention is all in that higher vibration of love and compassion and beyond.
Yes.
Yes. It's never going to hurt anybody.
No. And do it. It's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to bring, it may not have the outcome that you're looking for, but it's always going to do some love.
What's coming is you make that attempt.
Yes.
And then after the fact, you realize you didn't get that result.
Right.
The important piece is to stay in that high vibration, to stay in love.
Yes.
Because if you go to the other end, if you get frustrated, if you fall into doubt and to despair,
Fear.
judgment, even that
Mhm.
fear,
Mhm.
any of those lower vibrations.
Yeah.
That's the point where, yeah, you actually could cause
Yeah.
harm.
So here's another thing. When we talk about fear, we're talking in, yes, sometimes the actual feeling of fear, but we're talking about the big generalized. We believe in there's fear and there's love, and every emotion, every feeling is within those two realms. So when we say fear, because I know people, and I totally
Mhm.
get why they get confused by that. They're like, what the hell? I'm
Or
not scared
I'm
or whatever.
not.
Fear. Any of those emotions that are less than love, that's in the realm of fear.
Yeah.
So depression is there.
Codependency is there.
Yes. Yes. So there's
Yeah.
so that when we say fear, I know that gets confusing for people, and that's another area we're trying to get better at. Is we talk in those terms. We try never to talk down to anyone. So sometimes we really won't say something because it's like, well, I don't want to talk down to someone. That's
I
we
don't want to make
want
them feel
to,
stupid, right?
yes, we never want to make anyone feel stupid. So we're sort of toying with that right now. It's like, well, how much do we say? Because we don't want to be seem condescending. We're never condescending. We don't want to, but we don't want to seem that we don't want anyone to listen to us and think, wow, those ladies are condescending. How? Of course,
Well,
I know what
duh.
that is. They
Right.
had to explain
Right.
it. So we're really trying to bring in that balance. And also, please know if we explain something and you already know it, we're really just trying to bring it to people who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So those who don't understand it already can have that opportunity to learn and understand. We really aren't trying to talk down to anyone at all. So we try to be pretty.
Yeah. I also, what's coming is to say, if we explain something that isn't exactly the way you understand it, but it doesn't mean that what you understand is wrong or that we
Right.
are wrong.
Right.
Because multiple things exist at the same
Yes.
time, multiple definitions,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And some things we have to interpret by our own experience.
Yes. Yes.
So please keep that in mind.
Yes.
Even if it's like exact opposites, if
Yeah.
there is a real dichotomy in something we say to what you
Yes.
believe,
Yes.
both things can still exist at the same time. And open yourself up to that expansion,
Yeah.
to that awareness.
And there is a reason we call ourselves everyday psychics.
Yeah.
We really try to be as humble and down to earth as possible. We have, I don't know how many times, lots of times, people will say to us, "You're so normal." Like you're so normal. Like, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah.
We don't.
Because we are just people.
We're normal. We really are. We're everyday
Just
people. We're everyday. We just happen to have these beautiful gifts. And everyone has beautiful gifts. And maybe your gift is your the customer service you give at your job, or that you have these amazing math skills or this communication, whatever it is, gifts are gifts, and we all
have them in some
gifts.
form.
Yes. Yes, we all
Absolutely.
do. And it takes all of us. It takes all of us to have these
Absolutely.
different gifts and to learn and to grow and to move forward. But so yeah, there is a reason we say everyday psychics.
Yep.
Because we really do. And we try not to get too, like, there are people, as we all know, you've all watched them, I'm sure, other psychics and things, and they are really far out there. And many psychics are there. You're just like, what? When they confuse us, it's like, oh shit, they're out there. Because we can usually understand them. We don't talk that way, but we can understand it. But once in a while, it's like, huh? What the hell? Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah.
And that's their journey. We're all
It
on our
is.
journey.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We all have our journeys, and we all have our struggles. Um,
Yes.
and it's, it's how do we maneuver through it and how do we heal through it?
Yes.
And
Because we are here to heal. We're here to get programmed, to get our ass kicked, to live in all that muck. And then eventually it's time to heal. And that's where that wisdom comes from. As we get older, people who are of a certain age, we can say they have wisdom. They do, because they've been here so long. We love talking to people. So anyway, I was just thinking of someone recently I've talked to who is much older than me, and just has that wisdom of life, just being here. And he's just so filled. I love hearing the stories, and and he's a very unhealed person. So there's a lot of still trauma there, yet there's a lot of wisdom as well. But anyway, I digress or something. As I do. Anyway, so
were there any more questions?
no, that was all that
that was all of, yeah.
Yep, that was it.
And they were great questions.
Yes.
So what is a ghost?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost is the soul of a one-time living person that did not make its way to the higher realms to be healed.
And is living in fear and awfulness. I don't know what other word than awfulness. Yes. And so yes, and if any of you have paranormal activity in your home, in your office, land, wherever it is, please reach out to us. Those are the only videos we're going to be putting up from now on, unless spirit changes us in another direction again. That's all we're going to be doing. We're going to be putting up our clearing videos. That's what we do. That's what we've done for a very long time. And yeah, that's what we love doing. We love hearing from you. We're so grateful every time someone reaches out to us. If you want to know more about us, TCS everydaypsychics.com, and you'll find all the links with this video.
You can contact us through the website.
Yep. We also have consciousspirit.net, which is our podcast. I think we're putting this video everywhere. I think we have 2 YouTube channels and a podcast. I'm not sure exactly where we're putting this. I know we're putting it on the actual podcast for listening only.
Yes.
And then we might put it on the other 2 as well, or one of them. I'm not sure.
One of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
On
YouTube. So
yeah.
We're very,
like she said, if you have activity, please reach out, because you don't deserve to live in that. No. And the earthbound spirit deserves to be crossed over, to have that opportunity to heal.
And something we didn't talk about today, excuse me, man, is you've heard it. If you're watching our videos, when you live in activity, even if you think you just have one ghost bumping around up there somewhere, you are being affected. It's lowering the vibration. You are in pain. Things are happening that you're really unaware of. It's not healthy for anyone. So reach out to us.
You are most likely affected in so many different ways than you realize.
Yes. So it's healthy for everyone to have it all cleared out.
Yes.
Anyway, I am all of a sudden sort of pulling up because I hear my grandson downstairs. My daughter-in-law brought him over. So that's why I'm sort of in a different place at the moment.
Let's say goodbye so you can go enjoy that bundle of fun.
Yes. Oh, the love of my life, my heart. He is my heart. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Amanda Jean, for starting this conversation and really sort of kicked us in the butt to make this video, and we appreciate that.
Yep, I agree.
We hope you all enjoy it.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.